Welcome to the Fralin Spotlight Talks for YouTube. Before we begin, I encourage you to use these videos interactively. When you are prompted to observe, pause the video and look carefully. When the educator asks a question, feel free to pause the video again and discuss your observations and ideas, making sure to address what you see that makes you say that.
In this video, we're going to talk about wall drawing by Liza Sylvestre and Christopher Jones called movement-centric language. Let's begin by slowly looking at the drawing. Scan the wall drawing with your eyes, starting from the left, slowly looking at each of the signs. As you look, write down what stands out to you. What do you notice about the way the drawings are arranged on the wall? What do you notice about the drawings as you move closer or further away? Pause the video and write down your observations or discuss them with a partner. Now, pick one of these illustrations to focus on more closely. Once again, let's take some time to slowly look at the illustration. What movement is it depicting? How does the layering of images clarify or obscure your understanding? Does the illustration you chose include words? How do the words contribute to your understanding? How does the movement displayed help you understand the meaning? Take a moment to pause the video and reflect. As Sylvestre experienced increased hearing loss over time, she began learning American Sign Language, using grammar books with images and captions similar to her wall drawing to teach herself signs. Sylvestre created the signs in movement-centric language to untangle the rules and restrictions of language. Pick a few actions to follow yourself. What does it feel like to learn through images? The presence of multiple languages within Liza Sylvestre's family shapes herself and her art. As the only deaf member in a hearing family, Sylvestre's experience of communication is marked by constant negotiation and adaptation. We all learn and adapt to make ourselves understood, like Sylvestre. Take a moment to think and write about how you communicate with your family members and people close to you. Are there any words, phrases, or actions that you use primarily within your family or close friends to communicate? Reflect on this and write down some specific examples. Sylvestre's art makes visible the complicated edges of belonging and understanding in families where not everyone shares the same sensory experience. Her use of layered drawings and storytelling shows how people build communication and language together, even if it's not always perfect, sometimes imperfectly within these structures. Through these explorations, Sylvestre asks viewers to think about how who we are and how we connect with others can change depending on whether we share the same language, and how people can adapt and invent new ways of communicating in order to understand each other. By reflecting on her own experience with hearing loss, Sylvestre invites us to consider what it means to be understood and belong. How have you experienced belonging? What are some ways that you make people feel like they belong? Sylvestre says, quote, "I came to art because it was a language that I understood. I could imagine things I wanted to create, and I could think deeply about what I wanted to say, and then I could simply set out to make those ideas come to life." End quote. Take a moment to pause the video and think about art as a language. If you only used visual art to communicate, what would you say? What might be left out? What materials or processes would you use to tell a story? Do you speak another language? Have you learned another language? Take a moment to write about how this wall drawing may reflect or differ from that experience. As our time with movement-centric language comes to an end, I would like to invite you to reflect on what you have observed and learned from movement-centric language. Have you ever experienced a time where you struggled to communicate something? How did it feel? Think of a specific experience and write them down. In those experiences, what did you gain or learn?
We hope you've enjoyed this Writer's Eye Spotlight Talk. Please reach out to the Education Department with any questions or feedback. Our email is museumoutreach@virginia.edu.